Each sport has a prospect, a up-and-comer, a guy that everybody knows, this dude is legit. This dude's the real deal. Or even this girl is the real deal. I've seen a lot of nasty, just vicious female fights in the last few years in terms of the fight game. But there's one guy that comes to mind when I talk about up-and-comer, someone to keep your eye out on. This is a good dude. Guy that's got that, I don't want to say McGregor flash. He's not flashy like Conor, but someone that's just dominant. And I will say that dominance is very reminiscent of John Jones. When John Jones was climbing up the ladder, you're like, man, this kid he's really something. He's a guy that I think will definitely win the title one day, and then he did. Against Shogun Rua, who was one of the most legendary MMA fighters of all time. That's what I see in Bellator MMA's Aaron Pico. This is a guy that has had so much success throughout his combat career, whether it's wrestling, whether it's boxing, whether it's MMA. He trains with the best of the best, and he's trained by the best of the best. He is truthfully already a championship caliber fighter because he trains with championship fighters and he trains with championship trainers. So you know what is coming. You know that he's going to evolve. You know that he's going to get better. You know that he's going to somewhat take his lumps maybe in training, somewhat take his lumps even in fighting. But he's going to learn from him. And that's what we saw actually back in June of 2017, I believe, where Pico was fighting a guy by the name of, I think his name is Zach Freeman. I don't even know the guy's first and last name. I know his last name was Freeman. And Pico was fighting at 155, the lightweight division at the time. And this Freeman guy was much bigger than him at 155. Freeman fought at welterweight before in Bellator and in other promotions. Was really seen as somewhat Ham and Egger was seen as a middle of the road, middle tier, top 15 guy, but nobody to really write home about. But maybe a guy that could show up one night and give another younger fighter trouble, and that's exactly what happened. He dropped Pico and choked him. The first round, Madison Square Garden, Aaron Pico's MMA debut. It was a nightmare for Pico. And yet, Pico bounced back and has looked so dominant at 145, the weight class he belongs in, at featherweight for Bellator. And he could be a real star in this sport. He could be another guy that Bellator could say, well, Max Holloway is a pretty damn good fighter. Brian Ortega is a pretty damn good fighter. But Bellator has got this young kid that's 21 years old that's just dropping dudes, not with headshots, but with body punches. That is very rare to see a guy in MMA win fights with body punches. Not body kicks, body punches. That just tells you that his boxing is on another level. And his wrestling is top-notch. One guy that trains with him daily, one guy that trains with Aaron Pico quite often daily, maybe every other day, is UFC bantamweight champion TJ Dillashaw. And he's talked about how Pico is so competitive that if Pico beats him in anything, he's going to rub it in TJ Dillashaw's face. He's super competitive, and TJ Dillashaw is known as a very competitive guy. It was talked about a lot against TJ Dillashaw by guys like Uriah Faber and Cody Garbrandt when they specifically said that TJ Dillashaw took practice to another level for the worst. Aaron Pico is one of those guys. He'll try to knock you out in sparring. He'll try to break your arm in sparring. Does not care. He's a nasty, nasty guy. And when you look at him, you see, this guy's young. He's babyface. And he could be what Oscar De La Hoya was for boxing, Aaron Pico could be that for MMA, a young star that just has so much ahead of him that hopefully he stays, on an even keel. He keeps his head on straight. Hopefully he takes this opponent seriously, because Leandro Higo just fought for a Bellator title. And he lost, but this is a former title challenger. So if Pico wins this fight, he's in the discussion. And we're really talking about some serious stuff here. Meanwhile, this guy's fought 3-4 fights in MMA, but he's just been so damn good that Bellator is definitely, rightfully so, smartly giving him a push. Are they pushing him too fast? Whatever. I don't think there's such thing, really. In this business, you need to sell as many pay-per-views or get as many eyeballs on your product as you possibly can, especially if you're Bellator. You need to grab every shooting star that you have, and that's what Aaron Pico is. Catch a falling star, put it in your pocket, and never let it fade away. That's Aaron Pico. Wow, did I just make that reference? Yes, I did. So, all that being said, I'm going with Pico. I'm on the Aaron Pico train. I am full speed ahead for Aaron Pico. And yes, he did lose his first debut fight to a guy that he should have never lost to, but he was fighting in a weight class that he never should have been fighting in. And we know weight classes in boxing, weight classes in MMA, they matter. That's why they're there. Even the greatest MMA fighter of all time, according to the Thomas Take Sports podcast, Ryan Thomas, me, yours truly, George St. Pierre, my greatest MMA fighter of all time, in my opinion, moved up from 170 to 185, and even he struggled in doing so, in moving up in weight. His body suffered, although he won. That was a very tough fight. Michael Bisping did his most damage in that fight from his worst presumed position, from his back. Think of all the fights that GSP's fought where he's put a fighter on his back and the fighter's done zero damage. Bisping did his most damage, and largely that was because of the fact that GSP was fighting in a weight class he should not have been fighting in. Keeping a guy down that's 175 is a lot different than keeping a guy down who's 205. And that's what we saw, 185, 205, I think, walking around weight, that some of those welterweights compared to Bisping. But Bisping was just smarter, experienced than some of the welterweight title challengers that GSP's fought. But nonetheless, neither here nor there. What I'm saying is, any fighter that moves up a weight, it's tough to even go back down and have success, because you filled your body up, now you're depleting it again. Luckily, Pico is at a point in his career where he's young enough to do that. He's young enough to go up and down in weight. But when I look at his opponent, I do see a guy that could beat him. I don't want to make Aaron Pico out to be this invisible force, but he's definitely a guy that deserves to be credited for the success that he's had. He's 21 years old. He was a silver medalist in the 2014 Junior Olympics. He was a gold medalist in the Cadet World Championships. And he's a guy that I think definitely deserves to get the hype that he has. He's 3-1. He signed a multi-year shoe endorsement with Nike when he was 17 years old. And it was against Zach Freeman that he lost 24 seconds into the first round. Fought Justin Lin, he fought Shane Crutchin, fought Lee Morrison, beat them all in the third, first, and first round. So that just goes to show you that the hype is real for Aaron Pico. His opponent, Leandro Higo, though, 18-4, 10 wins by submission. So Pico is facing a another true submission artist. But he did lose his last fight to Darian Caldwell, the 145-pound champion in Bellator, in March for the Bellator bantamweight title. So this guy Higo fought at 135. Now he's moving up a weight class at 145 to take on Pico. So if Aaron Pico beats this guy, he's beating a former 135-pound contender. This is a big fight for Higo. This is a big risk for Higo. This is a big opportunity for Pico. Higo Pico. What a weird rhyme that is. Nonetheless, I think that anytime you have a star like this, you gotta put him in there with the Wolves. You gotta see what he's got. You gotta find out if he's legit, and if he's not, he's not. If he is, he is. It's a win-win. You find out if there's no such thing as killing a star. I don't buy into that. I think Bellator's got to put this guy on a big stage, big fights, big opportunity, and that's what they're doing. Pico, I think he's going to win via knockout. So there you have it. That was my preview of every fight Bellator MMA will offer us September 29th on the main card. Gegard Mousasi versus Rory McDonald, the main event. Co-main event, Rampage Jackson versus Vanderlei Silva for the fourth time. I don't think it will be the final time they fight. It might be, but I don't think so. Douglas Lima, not Diego Lima. My apologies to the Lima fans out there. I botched it, which is rare. I rarely botch names. Andrei Koreshkov. Andrei, I spelled with an I at the end rather than a Y. I did spell the last name right. I'll fix it in the editing room. No worries. Aaron Pico versus Diego. Here we go. I said Diego. It's Leandro Higo. Man, I keep messing that up. I don't know why. I keep thinking one of these guys' names is Diego, but it's not. But nonetheless, I'm excited for this card. I will be watching. We'll be tuning in. And I really appreciate you guys for tuning in to listen to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Hey, everybody that is tuning in, watching it, whatever, on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. You can follow me at Twitter, at Thomas Takeover. You can subscribe to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. You can also like the Thomas Take Sports Podcast Facebook page. And also check out www.statementgames.com. At statementgames.com, you're not drafting players. At statementgames.com, you are drafting statements. Let's say I want to play a contest. That's what we're going to call it, the contest featuring the Buffalo Bills and the Green Bay Packers. And I want to draft a statement that says, Josh Allen, my guy, number 17, future GOAT, future statue in Buffalo, future retired number, 17, in Buffalo. Let's say this guy, I believe he'll throw for more than 200 yards against Green Bay. I really do. Buffalo will be throwing early often, especially if they're playing from behind. Let's say Josh Allen throws for that amount of yards. I say he's gonna, and then he does. I can win a prize, whether it's a gift card, a T-shirt representing podcasts from all around the country, or even sports tickets to a Bills game, a Jets game, a theater, gift card, whatever it may be. You can win prizes for free. All you got to do is go to www.statementgames.com, sign up for an account, and boom, you're in. You can choose which games you want to play, and you can also read some stuff from yours truly. Coming up soon. Take care, everybody. I really appreciate the support. As always, I'm Ryan Thomas. That was the Thomas Take. Take care.